Well, let's have a look at the side that Jason Strange has picked for this first match of the campaign. It's an all-Scarlets pairing at half-back, with Declan Smith partnering Dan Jones, a man Scrum 5 viewers will be more than familiar with. He began the season, of course, as the Scarlets starting fly half. We saw Owen Watkins try in our opening sequence from last season. He's already made 5 appearances for the Ospreys so far this term. He's alongside Blues Academy product Harry Millard in the midfield. And in the back three, check out the highly rated Keelan Giles, making his debut tonight. A 7 specialist with pace to burn. He's alongside Ellis Wynne Benham and RGC's Reen Williams. And Rob, we spoke at the top there about how a lot of these players have got Pro 12 experience. We've seen Owen Watkins 5 times for the Ospreys there this season, and he's never looked out of place. No, absolutely. He's looked a real prospect for the future. You know, he's very powerful. I think he's gone away and he's bulked up. I think the Ospreys have played a part in that respect, and that's coming through in terms of his performances. You know, and his ability to step, the power he has, the vision he has as well. You know, identifying where the space is on that clip. And this Keelan Giles, I mean, a huge amount of expectation in terms of his ability. Fantastic footwork. He's down at Swansea Rugby Club. He's scored some fantastic tries this year. Open space, there's no better run, I don't think, in any form of the game. So I'm expecting big things from him, and it'll be a fantastic opportunity for him to show his worth. Well, high praise from Rob Jones there, and of course, a pacey player will always find a 4G pitch a pleasure to play on, so we'll see if he can take advantage of that tonight. Let's cast our eyes over the pack now. 2 debutants in the front row, Corey Domachowski and David Hughes, join the experienced Dylan Lewis, the 20-year-old on the tight end, making his 11th appearance in the under-20 shirt. Experienced too in the second row tonight, with the Ospreys' Adam Beard also making his 11th under-20s appearance. He packs down alongside Shane Lewis-Hughes. Tom Phillips, the Scarlets flanker, captains the side from the back row. We heard from him in the VT just then. Harrison Keddy makes his 8th start at number 8, while Sean Evans makes his first appearance in an under-20 shirt, another debutant there in the back row. And Martin, some serious talent in that pack tonight. And I know you've been keeping a close eye on the progress of Dylan Lewis at the Blues. He's already made 10 senior appearances for the regional side. Yeah, and you mentioned it, he's played 11 games for the under-20, so he's played a year young, which is always difficult to do. And tight heads, they are worth their weight in gold, aren't they? You know, and this guy, he's still learning his trade, scrummaging-wise. You know, it's been a couple of tough outings for the region. But around the park, you know, he's fantastic, and he's a great footballer as well. So there are huge expectations on him with the Blues, and he's stepped up. He's come in and getting some big games out in Montpellier. He came off the bench, you know, more than held his own. So, yeah, I think he brings a wealth of experience to a 20s team. So opposite end of the spectrum to the guys Rob picked out, but he's going to be crucial to the campaign this year. Another one to keep an eye on tonight then. Let's go over and keep an eye on Phil Steele. He's been enjoying the Irish hospitality, as he always does when he crosses over the Irish Sea, and he's got Paul Wallace, the former Island and Lions prop, for company tonight. Evening, gents.
Yeah, thanks, Ross. Welcome to Donnybrook. This is a ground shared between 2 famous Dublin clubs, Old Wesley and Bective Rangers. Well, here's Paul Wallace. Now, Paul, you captained Ireland at under-21 level in your day. That Irish pack, it's weighing in at something like 900 kilograms, over 900 kilograms. How big a difference will that make at this level?
It's a long time ago now, Phil, what, 20 plus years ago. Yeah, it's a massive pack. Just looking at the warm up there, just the sheer size, but the power. There's not guys carrying any weight either. Guy Killian Gallagher at number 6, he's bigger than most international number 6s at senior level. But also they've got a good scrum. James Ryan, the second, a big, powerful guy. And I think that's where they're going to look to really go at Wales up front and use that size and might.
Now, in contrast, very quickly, the Welsh side has got pro experience and under-20s experience as well.
Yeah, definitely, and 7 players back, and most importantly, I think at out half at this level, your first game up, you need someone to control the game, and I think Dan Jones, he's the guy that can just step in there and sort of manage the team around, which you'll need to do, and also they've lots of experience out wide, and this 4G pitch should suit Wales in that regard.
Thanks, Paul. You better get up to the commentary position. Conditions are absolutely perfect here. Let's go straight to the commentary box, and Gareth Charles.
Thanks very much, Phil. Yeah, it's been a wild old day, but it has settled down now. And now, as you say, conditions are pretty good, especially underfoot on this 4G pitch, which should suit these youngsters and a running game. Very interesting to see, as Paul was saying, the size on these Irish boys as well. They are pretty massive. not experienced. Wales far more experienced. The likes of Dylan Lewis, Adam Beard, Tom Phillips up front, all played competitive games for their regions, as has Owen Watkin and Dan Jones behind, keeping an eye out for Keelan Giles and Rhyn Williams representing Rugby Gogledd Cymru. For Ireland, the front row of Porter, McBurney and O'Donnell are the only ones who played at this level before. A dozen debutants, but Jack Power very highly thought of, as are the two centres Shane Daly and Jimmy O'Brien, and the captain James Ryan. On the bench, a bit of experience as well. Jared Evans has featured for the Blues. Ivan Phillips, hoping to follow in his father's footsteps. Kevin, who played hooker for both Neath and Wales. The referee this evening, Thomas Charabas of France. The Under-20s Championship of 2016 kicks off at Donnybrook. Johnny McPhillips of Queen's University Belfast and Ulster gets the game underway. Adam Beard of the Ospreys, the recipient. And Tom Phillips, Llanelli RFC and the Scarlets, got the ball, and Wales struggling with the possession at the breakdown. And early doors, it's Ireland who win that battle, and Ireland who win the first penalty. Not too much Corey Domachowski could do about it. It spilt out into his grasp, and no sooner had he got hold of it than he was in trouble. Harrison Keddy looking to lay the ball back, but it flew out. And even though Domachowski was there to recover, he was under such pressure that there was going to be only one result. Johnny McPhillips, 19 next month. Born in Newcastle. But an early chance for the home side. As always in grounds around Ireland, perfect silence, and that turns into the first cheer of the evening, with Ireland Under-20s going ahead by 3 points to 0. And Paul Wallace showing he's still got that fleetness of foot. He's sped up here to the commentary point. Evening, Wally, and looking forward to this one.
Certainly am. Apologies, got held up by Joe Schmidt and his entourage who are in the lane ahead of me coming up the stand. Good to see that interest that is in it. Even these players at 19, 20 years of age, how they're all fitting into the model of Irish rugby, and what a good start. Alertness, winning that penalty for Ireland.
Jimmy O'Brien kicks long downfield. Rhyn Williams brings it back up to the 10-metre line. Smith. Shane Lewis, who's upended. And Owen Watkin has to gather. And a feisty start from the Irish forwards, pressurising on the ball. That's Dylan Lewis. Went forward, and knock-on advantage to the Irish. John Poland tries to sneak it away to Andrew Porter. And that's good work by the Irish forwards, supporting the loose head, but held up by Wales. McPhillips high into the air and taken by Rhyn Williams. That's a tactic I think we might see a little bit of tomorrow, or Sunday rather, and tomorrow. Quite sure what the weather is going to be like game time, but it's going to be a tester for the back three.
Yeah, I think, Charlie, you can guarantee there's going to be rain, and the ball will be raining down on Anscombe, that's for sure.
Power looking to counter. Oh, McPhillips had spotted the space on the outside, nicely worked. Back inside to O'Brien. And O'Brien, no, doesn't quite make the corner. That's a great cover tackle from Dan Jones. They go over the try line, and the ref wants to see if the try has finally come. Well, brilliant cover by Dan Jones, but were the Irish support alert enough, and was the ball forward or not?
Yeah, great awareness by McPhillips. That crossfield kick, seen that Wales were held in a bit tight, but just Matthew Byrne, he just overran it. Need to keep your depth when you're trailing like that, and I didn't quite see the final touchdown, but hopefully we get a good view of it now.
Well, it's a very, very well-worked kick by Johnny McPhillips. He had a look out, saw the space out wide. The inside pass to O'Brien. Great cover tackle by Dan Jones. Now then, let's see what happened eventually. Well, it looks as though Killian Gallagher may have got there.
Yeah, he certainly did. Great follow-up, and Killian Gallagher, he's a huge man for number 6 at any level, never mind under 20, and to get around the park, he's a converted second row. Great play, and to get there so quickly as first forward, excellent play and well deserved.
Well, it didn't go forward from O'Brien. It evaded Matthew Byrne's fingertips and scooped up and plonked over by Killian Gallagher.
Pour l'instant, c'est long, c'est pour ça, désolé. For a moment, it's too long. I'm waiting for more pictures.
Ellis Wynne-Benham beaten to it by Gallagher.
Yeah, I think this is a straightforward try. There's nothing that could be said about that.
I'm sorry, but for a moment I have not good pictures. I try for them. Please, the same one, but
Vincent
2 seconds
Azoulay
before,
is
please.
the TMO.
Non mais moi, ça, je les vois les images là.
T'as l'écran ou quoi?
Oui, je suis
Now then,
Ah d'accord, oui, mais je préfère...
O'Brien
assure-toi, va.
kept it in field. Byrne didn't touch it there. That was, I think, it was the crucial one. Had he just clipped his fingertips, it could have been a knock-on, but it wasn't, and
I have
it was
decision.
kept off the floor by
Not knock
Gallagher.
on.
I suppose the one thing you could look at is it a second movement, but no, he fully controlled, turned over, and well-deserved try. But some great interplay as well by the midfield, Daly and O'Brien, who are very highly talked about in Ireland at the moment as future players for possibly senior recognition.
After 5 minutes, Ireland try by number 6, Killian Gallagher.
Well, that's a real blow for Wales. Very early on. Great awareness from Johnny McPhillips. He actually had a look up, saw Daly on the outside in a bit of space. And some excellent support by, despite the best efforts of Dan Jones. Gallagher managing to keep control. Just across the face from McPhillips, but what a start from the Irish boys.
Yeah, and I also think you got to think the forwards, when it looked like a choke tackle back in the halfway line was going to be held up, the intensity that the forwards hit in and got that forward momentum 2 phases before what the try we're seeing here, which just got Ireland on the front foot. It also meant that Wales' defence wasn't quite together, and then great finishing by Ireland.
Declan Smith to Rhyn Williams on halfway. Taken by his opposite number, Jack Power. So Will Connors doing the cleaning up work for Ireland. Not cleanly hit by McPhillips. Taken by Giles now. He can shift, but not in that much traffic. Domachowski. And a couple of Pontypridd players in the lineup for the Welsh boys tonight. And their reward is a penalty and a chance for their first points of the evening.
Offside. Option, penalty here.
Yeah, Ireland just getting a little bit over-eager in defence there. They need more discipline. Still early stages, I guess. It's a team just getting together, their first full international after a couple of warm-up games, and just unnerving. It looked like the defence was well controlled, good communication, and there was no need for them to start creeping offside.
I suppose the kick was so vertical and no distance on it. There was difficult to resist the temptation. Interestingly, Chris Horsman in the background there, just having a word with the captain, Tom Phillips, as he brings the water on. Dan Jones picked up 28 points in the Six Nations last year and gets his first 3 this year to put Wales on the board.
I think that was a vital score for Wales after a slow start and Ireland taking their opportunities. Dan Jones, I think, is pivotal to Wales if they're to win tonight. His experience and his general abilities as a general for Wales, I think, could be all important if they're to overcome this good Irish early start.
Interesting choice there, because there is a good choice at 10 for Wales. Jared Evans on the bench, featured for the Blues on a few occasions. I dare say we'll see him before the end of the evening. Offers something slightly different. The carry by the captain, Ryan.
40. You didn't support your body weight. You must to stay up to contest the ball. Must to stay up.
Again, just a bit over-eager there. The contest at the breakdown, but it normally takes 15-20 minutes maybe to work out a referee. You know, in the professional game now, you have so much analysis on referees and what you can get away with and not get away with. But when you get new teams like this, you know, you've just got to trial by error to see what you can get away from. And you just see not rolling out of the way there. Number 2 for Wales in Daffin Hughes. Just needs to move to the side rather than straight back over. Although I didn't think he got a helping hand by the Irish just to ensure they did get a penalty out of it.
It's a good strike by McPhillips, but it just died in the end.
It looked like it's a bit at the end of his range there, and sometimes I feel that the longer a kicker waits before he strikes it, you know, the more likely the kick is to go wrong. Sometimes it's that instinctive, you sit down, stride back with a bit of confidence, steady yourself and go for it. It seems a more assured way of going for goal.
Angus O'Brien, former Wales under-20 player, has put the Dragons ahead at the Kingspan Stadium. 3-0 they lead against Ulster.
White tackler!
The one game in the Pro 12 this evening. McBurney leaves it to Poland. Claffey. Jimmy O'Brien, well read by David Hughes. That's the skipper. James Ryan, all 6'8" of him. And there's plenty of bulk in this Irish pack, which the Welsh boys are going to have to contend with. Straight through goes Will Connors. Just keeping that defence honest. Around the corner comes Conan O'Donnell. His 10th game for the under-20s, the tight end.
Away red.
Steady progress being made by the Irish pack. Deeper and deeper into that Welsh 22. Porter. Good defence by Wales, and now they flood the tackle area. Sense they may be able to turn it over, but no. It's back in the hands of John Poland. McPhillips. In from the wing comes Byrne. Watkin with the tackle. McBurney.
Away 7!
Wales having to concentrate
Advantage
in
to
a
the knock.
lengthy period of defence, but it's Ireland who
Advantage
lose
over.
possession. And with the kick coming in, advantage over. That's Matthew Byrne,
Live in!
local lad. But picked off, and a chance maybe for Wales to counter. Declan Smith getting support from Adam Beard. Couldn't get it out wide quickly enough, and in the end, Harry Millard just putting it downfield. No real pressure from that kick. Wales would perhaps have hoped to make better use of that unexpected turnover ball. Giles, Green Williams following up, trying to take it on the volley, missing it completely.
Unfortunate there, Shane Daly, after some very good work carrying on, just doesn't manage to stay that bit in from touchline. A player that's been compared to Robbie Henshaw, quite rangy, quite physical. He's the sort of guy that'll probably fill out a bit as well. Good footballing abilities, but just on this one occasion, you know, you got to step up when you're that close. Great defence as well to roll him towards the to the touchline by Green Williams, but really got to work harder to stay in field.
Okay.
Heady to Giles. Shane Lewis-Hughes. Wales showing they can use the chance to build and go through the phases. Owen Watkin. He is the one maybe that Wales more than anyone will look to for guidance behind the scrum. Phillips. Effective carry by David Hughes, getting them over the gain line. Dan Jones. Again, the kick, well, it wasn't a pressure kick, and that's an unexpected bonus for Wales, with Hugo Keenan spilling that one.
Yeah, unfortunate drop there. Good defence by Ireland, always pushing up on the outside. I think they realise that Wales want to get the ball wide. They've got a lot of exciting backs there. Maybe the Welsh backline a little bit flat, and not being able to take on that rush defence out wide, resorting to the kick, and it looked like a kick that really wasn't going anywhere, but Keenan drops the ball, and that's a great position for Wales, and will be interesting to see how this scrum goes.
Okay, she got left.
Mind you, it's interesting to see what every scrum goes like, isn't it, Charlo?
Spoken like a former prop.
Looking forward to Sunday's battle in particular.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, there's so many front-line players missing for Ireland that it will be interesting to see how that one goes.
It certainly will, and I think they, might be targeting Samson Lee in the tight head, and how it's refereed by Garcia, who hasn't been great to Ireland in the past, will be interesting too.
And maybe some of his decisions last year influencing the choice of Rob Evans on the loose for Wales. Harrison Keddy, straight to Owen Watkin. Connors trying to get over the ball, but it's safely back to Lewis-Hughes.
What?
Smith. Dan Jones under pressure, though they were always going backwards. Green Williams spots a bit of space behind, backs himself and gets there. Superb play by the Carnarvon fullback. Just ran out of space in the end.
Yeah, great cover by Connors, a real number 7 tracking down. A great break by Williams, and good feet. Just too many players to beat, and Connors managed to just scrag him at the end. But great harrying again by the Irish defence, and I think that's, they're just really not leaving the Welsh backline settled. There's no platform for them to run onto, but again, Keenan slips off the tackle, but Connors comes to the rescue.
It's excellent corner flagging from the open side, but a good bit of vision from Green Williams. It's Owen Watkin who's down, and Wales won't want to lose him.
Yes, good decision making there by Wales. They're not getting the front foot ball. I'd say it's an aggressive press Irish defence, I think if they did get a bit deeper, they might be able to play it a bit more. But when it wasn't on there, just kick it in behind, dink it in behind. If you have an onrushing defence, that's the best thing to do, and just chasing in after it.
Well, one of the last glimpses we saw of Owen Watkin was for the Ospreys against Glasgow at the Liberty last Sunday. And with the very last move of the game, when the clock was dead, he actually ran the ball from his own try line just to try and get a losing bonus point for the Ospreys. That's the confidence of the young man.
Crunch! Crunch! Bind! Sat!
Port Ireland lock this, get the scrum height down, just need a solid scrum in this position. Clear your lines.
And the pressure coming on.
I got to say, I disagree with that. Not just being Irish, but as a prop. When you're there next to a touchline, you can see the Welsh scrum certainly spun to the left-hand side. That was a deliberate wheel. There's so many penalties given for deliberate wheels, and just a little, hopefully, pushing and shoving here, and it'll all break up.
Well, you can tell that the Irish obviously felt aggrieved with the penalty, and then the way the Welsh boys celebrated was just salt in the wound then. So there was always a chance things might flare up a little bit.
Yeah, it's clear that if you get another shot of that, how the Welsh scrum, they had it got up a little bit on the left, but then they walked it completely around, which is what they're trying to eradicate from the game. But unfortunately, too many referees. It's when a player actually dominates his opposite number, he's getting penalised for pushing too much and deliberately wheeling, which is, I thought, was part of the aim of the game in the scrum, to push the other guy backwards. That one, yeah, I'd have been a bit more sympathetic to the Irish cause on it. The penalty.
Who came in the problem is not necessary, so stay in the game.
Yeah.
We stay on the penalty here. Okay?
Sorry, cheers.
Time is on.
Monsieur Sharabas just trying to exert his authority and make sure that people don't rush in, as Dan Jones did to join things.
Here we see the scrum, and if you look at the back fit, yeah, he's standing up in the scrum. That's okay what's happening, but you see there's a walk around there on that stage. You know, for me, it was so important for Wales in that position that you pin Port and scrum half into the corner and you just turn it up in that direction. And for me, yeah, that's why I would have gone with Ireland.
Good drive from the Irish pack, but Harrison Keddy comes away with it, bounces off one would-be tackler. Great run from Harry Keddy. Option to go to the blind side. Is there just enough room there for Domachowski? Not quite.
On the line.
Forwards queuing up. Lewis Hughes brought down just short again. The skipper Phillips. Wales pounding at the Irish line. Still haven't reached. Declan Smith digs in. Phillips has another go. Gallagher with a tackle. Surely they're so close. Can they reach it? Yes, they can indeed. At the third or fourth time of asking. I think it's David Hughes who got there in the end.
Good confidence by Wales just to go through the phases. You get that close ball retention, yeah, you're eventually going to get over the line. It looked like they were going to get over earlier, except for a fantastic tackle by the Irish hooker Adam McBurney, but just too much pressure there, and great ball retention by Wales.
Well, it took a second movement and it was just touched the line before it was dragged back, but it was enough to claim the try for David Hughes.
Quite interesting there. The hand looks like it might be, yeah, just I think he gets the end of it there, but it's skin of his teeth.
Yeah, the point of the ball just touching the whitewash.
They all count though.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, bloody injury. Yeah.
Max Deegan, the Irish number 8, has just left the field with a cut head. Dan Jones, superb strike from Daniel Jones, and Wales fight back well. And David Hughes' try converted. And as we reach the 20-minute mark, Wales go ahead by 10 points to 8.
Yeah, there has been a momentum shift, hasn't there, Charlo? Wales just coming back and showing great confidence, and when you have 7 players there from last year, I think that's a big thing. You know, you don't get rattled by going a few scores down early on.
Wales in the lead. I wonder what the team manager thinks. Mark Taylor is with Phil.
Mark, how timely was that try for Wales after they didn't get off the bus in the first 10 minutes?
No, we did start quite slowly. I said, obviously, whenever you play away in Ireland, you know we're in for a tough first few minutes, and to be fair, we probably lacked that little bit of urgency in covering the cross-field kick. But like I said, the boys responded well and obviously built the basis of the try on an excellent scrum in the corner.
And Wales showing they can cope with this big Irish pack as well.
Yeah, there's been a lot in the press over here, obviously, with the big pack, but I said we've got some big boys as well, and I think, you know, they asserted themselves there, so we're very pleased.
Cheers, Mark.
Thanks, Rob.
Kelvin Brown is the replacement, albeit probably temporary, in the Irish back row. There's a try scorer, Killian Gallagher. O'Brien. Up comes Power. Watkin with a tackle. And driving through goes Dan Jones. Well, Dan Jones certainly fired up for this one. The outside half is living his life amongst the forwards.
Great play by Dan Jones. It's great to see in the professional era now out halves getting stuck in, whether it's making the big tackles or going in and clearing rocks. You know, no longer do you stay back. Just really good, came in hard and fast, well disciplined coming in from the back foot. Yeah, Ireland probably need to be a bit more disciplined. They won the ruck first, but you got to be steady, hold your position once you get past. Don't go too far past it, but very well counter-rucked by Wales. Bit embarrassing though to be rucked off the ball by an out half. Mind you, nowadays they're all bigger than the prop forwards. Sexton bigger.
Sean Evans was at scrum half. There he is with the ball now, the open side to Declan Smith. Good work by Owen Watkin. He's so clever tracking the ball.
First player.
Turned over though. Good defence by Ireland. Kick half charge down, and that'll be an Irish throw as well.
Hard to see who that was. It was like Killian Gallagher was involved there again, who's had a very promising start with his carrying, of course, scoring a try, and certainly was somewhat involved in that ball coming back.
Yeah, in the access, no problem.
Although I don't think we'll never know if it came back by legal means or not, will we?
Don't worry, you have time.
Well, the Dragons are having a great start out in Belfast. Adam Hughes with a try to go with Angus O'Brien's penalty, and converted as well. So 10-0 the Dragons lead. Carrying on from their excellent win against Leinster last week. Oh, no, that's Will Connors, who's been very prominent in the first half. He's a big open side as well, 6 at 5 of him.
Stay. Through the middle, no problem.
Through came Sean Evans, and that's turned it over. Dan Evans puts the kick behind the defence. But back there is the captain, James Ryan. Well, some of the counter-rucking from Wales in these last few minutes has been top draw.
It's all about timing and reading the situation. Is it worth committing? And not just is it worth committing to a ruck, at what time you do it. A ruck, maybe a team might think it's one, they ease off, and you saw there their body positions, the Irish players, quite tall players, when they're getting over, they're not getting a low body position and they're getting easily shunted off the ball. That's one thing they got to do, get their hips down low, shoulders down low, and make it really hard that the Welsh players to try and clear them out.
Harrison Keddy sets it up. Smith. Sean Evans is always going to be under pressure from O'Brien. Taken on by Shane Lewis-Hughes. Dan Jones. A touch far maybe for Benham. No, it may work out for him. Again, Keenan wasn't secure under the high ball, and Tom Phillips has snaffled it up for Wales. Jones goes for the cross kick for Giles. Taken cleanly by Daly, and the clean catch awarded.
That's Gaelic football for you. Great two-handed catch. Tom's behind the ball. Very well taken. Again, it looked like a young Henshaw going up for that.
Giles really seen his running ability. Now he might, though, just run out of space. Such an exciting prospect.
What dazzling feet.
There's been another try in Belfast, but this time it's for the home side. Sean Reddy, the try scorer, and with a conversion as well, it's cut the deficit now to 10-7 in the Dragons' favour. And after the opening stages, it's all been played down in Ireland's half. Connors, freed his hands very well indeed. Support from Brown, lovely little inside ball. Anybody with Daly looks inside, and the scrum half Poland arrives. So does Gallagher. Lovely support work by the Irish 20s. Oh, it's gone forward though, but illegally. Stripped on the floor.
Beautiful play by the Irish back row. O'Connor's first of all, but then replacement Kelvin Brown. What a beautiful slip pass. And again, it was that man, Killian Gallagher, charging on, bringing the ball on. What a big work rate he has for a big man. But look at this, hands free, tap goes off, ball goes out, and look at that. Just the vision and also the communication, the running lines when you're supporting coming in from behind. It's one of the things at senior level that Ireland aren't doing very much of, which is offloading. They don't seem to have the trail runners, but it's a pleasure to see it happening here at under 20 level. Some great running rugby there by Ireland.
Will Connors has been very impressive in attack and defence. His cover tackle earlier, a couple of bursts, and then showing good hands as well, as did Kelvin Brown. And Wales desperate in defence, just putting a hand in on the floor.
And again, it was that man Shane Daly also linking in with the back row, that number 13, and he's been one of the standout players to me from Ireland in this first half.
Connors has taken a bang on the shoulder by the look of it. And it's a skipper, Tom Phillips, who's getting some prolonged treatment for Wales. He's back up on his feet. And he'll turn round to see that Johnny McPhillips is going to go for goal.
Time notice. Moi, j'ai terrain, j'ai 32, mais ils arrêtent jamais le chrono. Ouais, mais c'est le contact qui compte. Je peux voir en maths.
High, straight and true, and Johnny McPhillips restores the lead for Ireland.
Well rewarded from very good play from Ireland, and yeah, I think this game looks like it's going to be nip and tuck the whole way for the 80 minutes. Just as Wales thought they were getting back on top, Ireland managed to break free and get in, and good reward, as I said, for some fine play by Ireland.
Brown, who had an instrumental hand in that breakout from 122 to the other. Poland again, his kick is half charged down. No offside, where there wouldn't have been, except that it came off one Welsh second row to the other.
Offside. You're offside. No, it's not you touch the ball, so offside.
There's no offside line initially, but it came off Shane Lewis Hughes, picked up by Adam Beard, and that's where the offside decision came.
Yeah, and again, another box kick being blocked down, and when you think of the old school scrum halves where you kick the ball facing the other direction, so the trajectory went straight up and these big seconders couldn't get a paw to it, but now they seem to be front on or side on when they're making the box kicks, and you know, the big second rows, they're easy to get in and get a hand up and get a block down. It's something that they need to maybe take a step back in time and get some of those great technical scrum halves who used to be able to put so much height and never got close to getting blocked down.
Nudged on by Deegan, who's back on the field. And what would have been a scrum turns into a penalty.
Ask his tackler must to release clearly.
Again, a cheap penalty by Ireland, really. There was no real pressure there. You know, when you look at where Wales were, it was after a big line break by Ireland, running 40, 50 metres. You know, if you give away a penalty in that situation, it's not the worst thing. But when you have a dead ball, static ball, going nowhere, you really have to keep your discipline in there. But good line-out play. You have Scrappy off the top. And then just a scramble for the ball here.
Big weekend's rugby. The big game of the weekend after this one. Live on S4C on Sunday afternoon. And look back at what is a very exciting first weekend in the Six Nations on Scrum 5 on Sunday evening, 7 o'clock. Dan Jones on the mark again, and the seesaw game continues, and it's back. Advantage Wales on the half-hour mark. After putting Wales back ahead, Jones safely puts the ball out of play and just gets a chance for everybody to have a breather, reform, concentrate on the next phase of play.
In the gap, please.
Gallagher off the top. Deegan standing off. O'Donnell brought down by Phillips. Deegan again waiting. Meant to be a little 1-2, the scrum half. Beautifully poached by Phillips. Dylan Lewis is on his own. Now help arrives in time. In steps Sean Evans as scrum half. Shane Lewis-Hughes. Ireland not committing to the breakdown, keeping the numbers out to defend wider. Harry Millard.
No, don't push the number 9.
Both teams a little narrow. No one out on the far right-hand side. Or nicely done by Jones. Covered though by Poland, because Owen Watkin is lurking, as was Keelan Giles.
Stay in front.
Knocked out of play. Green Williams has Elliswyn Benham outside him. There he is. Tries to go the long way round. Good bit of pace to get past the first man, but he just lost it in contact, did he? No, says the referee. Not forward anyway.
First player.
That one has gone. And here's a chance for a counter led by Ryan. Lovely pop-up to Poland. Important tackle by Millard. Good hands by Connors. And Wales very much on the back foot at the moment. Popped up. And Ryan again. Daly. In the scrum half comes Jack Power.
Ball was out.
It's James Ryan. in the move for a third time, taken on by Porter, pushing Wales back to the 22.
Away! Release!
Slowed down by Wales. They've reformed defensively. One of the Irish players still down on halfway. Looks like a penalty advantage to Ireland at the moment.
See the advantage penalty.
Fed by Byrne. It's a kick for nothing for McPhillips. And a bit of a nothing kick as well, which means they'll go back for the penalty.
Again, great Irish offloading, prop forwards to back rows and continuing going through. Doing an awful lot of pick and go around the side and right through the middle of the rucks. Probably not when you get in behind a team like that, you probably don't want to do that. You want to get the ball right out again, move the point of attack consistently so the other defence can't form. It gives them that bit more time. I think when it is dead ball, that pick and go does work very well to get going. And interestingly enough, another way to get going, we haven't seen them all really today. So I guess these 4G pitches aren't as conducive to the heavy pitches.
Well, the Irish first team staff here in evidence. And know what they're making of it. The one thing as well, Wally, it looks as though when they do go for that breakout, they really do step up a gear, and it's very quickly transferred 30, 40, 50 metres downfield.
Yeah, fantastic play. It's all they're looking for space. The offloading is there. They're pulling defenders one way or the other, getting their hands free, and also you know the trailing player. They know the pass is coming, and as we were saying earlier, it's very different to maybe the way the senior team are playing. Where they're not an offloading side with trailing players, and it's paying rich dividends when they're under pressure. This offloading game is getting Ireland into these positions.
It's nip and tuck, all right, but another success for Johnny McPhillips means that with 4 minutes of the first half left, Ireland edge back ahead 14-13.
2 minutes to go. 2 minutes to go.
The crowd may be a bit confused, maybe the players as well, because the clock in the ground is at 40 minutes, but that hasn't stopped at any point during proceedings, and we've had a few injuries and 1 or 2 lectures from the referee.
You didn't survive to the clean out.
Konachowski finds Adam Beard. Giles. No, taken out of play by Matthew Byrne. And they're looking to see if they can create just enough space to get him away and clear, but they haven't managed to yet.
Yeah, they certainly look very dangerous. Wales out wide. I think Ryn Williams has looked very impressive, hitting the line. Great pace, great stepping. And of course there we see Giles as well. Maybe needs to work a bit more at keeping possession. If he doesn't have that space, maybe looking to link back, keeping the attack going.
There is no knock on. Oh, wait.
Wales, unexpected possession from that line out, and Dylan Lewis goes charging into the 22. Smith to Dan Jones, flat ball right on the gain line.
No, quiet.
Keddy under pressure, slips it to David Hughes. It's Lewis Hughes. Millard, too many green shirts outside him. Lewis, nicely done. Giles trying to use those quick feet. Well marshalled by Power. Phillips. Wales looking to finish the half with a flourish and edge back ahead as they head for the changing rooms just behind that try line. The Welsh crowd that are supporting, giving voice to Sean Evans, just 6 metres short. Driven on again, right underneath the posts.
First player.
Oh, but it's stolen. That's great work by Adam McBurney. And Ireland so thankful to their hooker. Still alive though. Slip back inside to Phillips. Wales keeping the pressure up, keeping possession of the ball. Just when Ireland thought they'd done the necessary, they didn't get the ball off the park. There's more defending to be done. Harrison Keddy. Declan Smith to Dan Jones. Jones steps inside, couldn't get the ball away to Watkin, who was waiting for the release, but it's still there for Wales. Tomaszewski again. Shane Lewis-Hughes. Again, Wales knocking on the door.
No.
It took the hard battering Ramway the first time. Lovely slip, and that's a very well-worked try for Adam Beard, and Wales do strike back just before half-time. That's great patience, and that is great discipline. Rounded off in a try for Adam Beard. Well deserved, very well worked.
Yeah, we talked about the back line getting a little bit flat early on. Forward certainly didn't there. Beard, he just seemed to come from the blind side, just behind a beautiful trailing line. Come straight in flat. Yeah, it should have been a better tackle put in by McPhillips there, but just not physical enough when you get a second row charging on a soft shoulder against an out half. And really should have been some defence inside him, some forwards covering the inside shoulder, but very good line. And run well, and great patience by Wales as well.
Yeah, they tried the hard yards to the forwards, but it was a great pass by Sean Evans, and Adam Beard timed his run well. He came from depth, and as if he needed it against the outside half, that gave him the momentum as well.
And how many times have we seen just before half-time, just before and just after, they can be the tries that turn a fixture.
So the final kick of the first half. Successful by Dan Jones, and that is a great end by the Welsh boys after being under pressure early on from Ireland. Ireland leading the way, but Wales striking back well. 2 tries to 1. They lead by 20 points to 14. Let's go back to Phil. He's with Mark Taylor again.
Mark, what a great time to score, and how much confidence will you take from that?
Yes, obviously it's a great time to score right on half-time. I think it's the fact he went through the phases score as well. I think it was very well worked. We'd been banged on the door a few times, got turned over, but I said the boys kept their composure, kept it in play. Excellent. We were really pleased with them so far.
And is that the answer for the second half as well, just patience, phases?
Yeah, I think it's got to be. Obviously, so just play the right areas. Got a nice little lead to go in at half-time, but yeah, certainly, you said we can keep the ball in hand. As got some good runners as well. So I said possession's obviously the key, and doing the right things with it.
Cheers, Mark. Make sure they have a good orange half-time. Cheers. Now, that was Mark Taylor, Wales team manager, and here's Ross with the first half recap.
Well, Wales had won the last 3 against Ireland, but it was Ireland who came out of the blocks quickest tonight. First with a penalty after 2 minutes, and then a sensational try after just 4 minutes on the clock. Things looking a little bit bad for Wales at that point, but they came back into the game well, knocked a penalty over themselves, courtesy of Dan Jones, and then after some impressive forward power, wave after wave of possession, eventually it was the hooker David Thomas who crashed over David Hughes, I should say, who crashed over for Wales, and Ireland appeared to be going into the half-time sheds in the lead, but Wales again, after a concerted period of pressure on the Ireland line, crossed the line courtesy that time of the clean-shaven Adam Beard, who ran a lovely line off the pass from the scrum half. Stats relatively even between the two sides, if we can just have a look at the match stats now. Metres made, Ireland more than Wales, 253 metres made, a decent amount on that 4G pitch, and they've made 7 turnovers to Wales's 3, and they made slightly more tackles than Wales as well. But on the pitch, gents, a fairly even game, a fairly competitive and evenly contested game. Perhaps, though, Jason Strange will be the happier of the two coaches, because Wales have gone into the half-time sheds in the lead, Rob.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the key word for Wales there is patience. They've been sort of patient in terms of their build-up. They've managed to control the ball. Turnovers obviously have gone Ireland's way, but Wales have managed to work their way back in. And I think the tries just show really how composed and patient they are. Maybe it's the experience of the players who've been there last year. You know, they've worked a couple of years under the under-20 system, and you know, they've been under the cosh on occasions, but certainly they've gone in, I think, deserved leaders.
They were certainly under the cosh in that first 5 minutes, Martin, and a fantastic try. Great attacking intent from Ireland, but perhaps a bit of defensive naivety from Wales as well.
Yeah, a bit of over-eagerness, I think. We'll see the clip now. I think it's Owen Watkin who steps in. I think he's lost his bearings at this situation, because Ellis Benham has actually put the kick ahead and found himself on this wing. But Owen Watkin, he's gambled. He's shot up in the line, thinking they're going to move it through the hands. But it's great vision by Johnny McPhillips, you know, the Irish outside half. You know, it's a beautifully weighted kick over to the outside centre. And Johnny shows great pace, actually. It's great effort by Owen Watkin to get back. Just doesn't have the pace. I think this year now is the difference between a flanker and a winger going for a 50-50 ball. You know, you've got to give huge credit to Killian Gallagher there. That's just, you know, tracking. He's gone down early. Ellis Benham has just got to dive on that. You know, you can't pick up and run from there. You're 2 metres out from your own line. You know, he is difficult. He's over chased, got back. You just got to dive on that ball and kill it. And yeah, you were fearing the worst then. But like Rob said, great composure by the Welsh team to get back. You know, they didn't panic. They weren't flustered, and they've got themselves back into the game. Yeah, and perhaps it was, as you said, Rob, the fact there are 11 survivors from the last campaign, that they're more experienced than their Irish counterparts, and they didn't let their heads drop, and lo and behold, sort of 10 minutes later they were back down the other side of the field, and after a concerted period of pressure, eventually got over the line. Yeah, they did. It was well worked, and very much a patient build-up. You know, and the pack have played exceptionally well. The change of direction, Domachowski almost goes across in the corner, and it's from here, when you're that close to the line, it's not about heroics, it's not about getting the ball wide unless there's space and opportunity. It's just going through the phases. Eventually you'll find some space, and Wales did that. David Hughes did exceptionally well. He understood the ruling. You know, you can make that quick second movement. The French referee gave the try, and you know, they went through 6 or 7 phases there just to get across. And I think it's understanding that if you keep hold of the ball, eventually you'll find some space. And yeah, I mean, the pack have played particularly well. You know, they've carried well. They've been heavily involved, and I said Wales, you know, are probably just the better side at the moment. No room for complacency, though, Martin, because as Robert said, pack probably on top, very competitive at the breakdown, but Ireland have looked very threatening on the counter-attack, so Wales can't afford to be loose at all in that second half. No, I think Jason Strange touched upon, Mark Taylor, sorry, touched upon it there, that, you know, they've gone to the 22 a few times, Wales, and a few turnovers, and they, you know, a few times Ireland looked as if they were going to go 70, 80 metres. Great scramble defence from Wales. Very impressed with the work of the breakdown from the Welsh team. You know, I think Paul Wallace mentioned in the commentary, even outside half, you know, counter-rucking, which is unheard of back in Rob's day. You know, imagine Jiffy counter-rucking. Yeah, so, you know, it's great commitment and for the cause, and they've reaped the benefits towards the end of the second half. And talking of commitment, he was someone that you picked out, Rob, at the start of the programme. Keelan Giles, the left winger for Wales tonight, just 17 years of age, but looks really hungry, and if he gets a bit of space, you sense he could do something special. Yeah, unfortunately, he hasn't had a huge amount of space. They're trying to get the ball to him, but, you know, I spoke earlier about footwork, and he's got that ability. He looks a little bit like, you know, Shane Williams, very, very sharp, identifies space, he kicks ahead. OK, it didn't quite work for him there, but he just looks an individual who can excite and inspire. You know, again, footwork, stronger than people think. He's not a big man, but again, he breaks tackles, you know, keeping the ball alive. So, you know, I think Wales will be looking to get the ball wide. You know, there might be an opportunity in terms of the counter-attack, and I think then you might see the best of him. You know, Warren Gatland already, I think, has identified this guy as a future international, as you said, just 17 years of age. Wow. Rob talked about the first Wales try just being a result of patience and not necessarily spinning it wide too early. The second Wales try in the stroke of half-time, much the same. Yeah, it all came actually from, you know, a little pop at Ellis Benham for not going for a 50-50. This came initially from overthrown line-out. Sean Evans has dived on it to win the 50-50. And I think this little pass here is something we don't do enough of in the Northern Hemisphere. You know, it looks simple and it looks easy, but too many times you see guys tuck it under his arm and carry. It's a beautifully weighted pass. Adam Beard, in fairness, has held his depth. He's obviously screaming from the outside, but it just shows sometimes, you know, that little pass, you know, 2-3 metres out is as good as a carry and running over somebody for 2-3 metres. So, you know, a great finish. It is time now to return to the commentary box. The teams, as you can see, were on their way out behind Paul Wallace there. So we can return now to our commentary points and Gareth Charles.
Thanks very much, Ross. Yeah, I can see Paul Wallace speeding up to the commentary point to join me. There's been one change in the Irish lineup during half-time. The open side, Will Connors, took a knock on the shoulder in the first half, so Kelvin Brown, who deputised briefly in that first half, is on to stay now. So Brown joining Deegan and Gallagher in that Irish back row. Excellent first half, very enjoyable. Not much to choose between the two teams, but Wales just edging ahead with that late try. And now they get a good start to the second half with the ball played back into the 22. They have a line out which they can hopefully attack from. David Hughes scoring the first try for Wales. Good ball by Beard, who scored the second. Watkin on that short ball. Phillips. Declan Smith just directing things around him, but stolen by the replacement, Kelvin Brown. Interception though by Dan Jones, and that is an unexpected gift, and Wales will take that. Lost the ball, but as Ireland tried to run it out, Dan Jones keeping his wits about him, and that is a delighted outside half who puts Wales further ahead with a try a minute into the second half.
It had to be that man, Dan Jones, didn't it? Read it so well, and Ireland's passing offloading game had been so good, but in that sort of position that early on to go and do it, and after leaking a try just before half-time, doing it again, it just, you know, Poland had to hang on to that ball. Anything 50-50 when you're juggling, you don't try and ship it on. Good pressure, and Jones using all his experience to get up there, and you know, a guy who physically likes to get involved.
Well, 2 penalties and 2 conversions, his contribution in the first half. And that try, putting it up to 15 of Wales' 25. Draws the kick wide though, and even though he'll be disappointed at that, he'll be delighted with the start to the second half. Poland is always under pressure. Tried to get it away to Deegan, but is asking too much. And Dan Jones aware of exactly what he had to do to get to that try line. So the perfect finish to the first half met by the perfect start to the second for Wales. Jones clears. Keenan out to Power. Matthew Byrne has a run. Brown. Max Deegan of the Lansdowne club. Brown into the arms of Shane Lewis-Hughes. Ball's gone forward. And Wales looking to use advantage. And with Declan Smith trying to get his hands around the back of the defender to get the ball to Keelan Giles. Not quite coming off.
It's admirable the way Ireland are trying to play the game, but you got to be selective when you do offload. You got to go be on the, you're taking a tackle on your own terms. You got to be getting go forward ball to get into it. If you're flat or you're going backwards and you start offloading and trying to shift on passes, it just comes out. You come off second best, and the pressure Wales are putting on Ireland in some of those circumstances, they just got to readjust and carry the ball up and reshape and get going again.
Crunch!
And that's been a key difference. The Welsh side having that bit of patience to go through the phases. Ireland trying to look for that miracle play maybe too many times.
Early.
Crooked feed.
You have to wait my call.
Well, early feed actually.
Number 9, I have to wait my sign.
Didn't wait for the referee's call or sign. I don't think I've actually seen that offence before.
And I would have been very surprised if it was a crooked feed call. I think that came back for a couple of months and they've wandered away again.
Well, you see something new every day. Penalised for not waiting for the referee's call.
Not all.
There we go. That looks a bit heavy. It is out on the full from O'Brien. Ireland just forcing it at the moment. Having fallen 11 points behind, but they've got plenty of time. There's no need to panic.
We get bang on there. It's just what I was going to say. They have the time. You just play. You need to get back into the game, get the confidence, get more momentum, and to do that, you can't be forcing it, whether it's by the boot or in a pass, and let's just start getting some go forward ball. You know, they must win the ball back here and put pressure on Wales again.
Beard brings it down. Evans drives it on.
Same ball. On your side, please.
That's brilliant work by the Welsh pack. They completely lost their Irish counterparts.
Away 8.
Smith waits. That's really too long for any Welsh chasers. And after the work of the forwards, they'll be disappointed the ball was given away like that. Smith has stayed down. Claffey, as Ireland have to build again, but there's a big gap there. Oh, great pass from McBurney. Poland, gets it away though to McPhillips. Good tackle by Phillips on McPhillips, but Brown is there in support. And again, Ireland have broken very quickly indeed.
Away 7.
Scramble defence by Wales. Pressure comes on from Owen Watkin. Brown picks up and drives through the middle. The counters have certainly been Ireland's most successful part of the game.
Push back.
Wales have managed to slow it down again. Try and regather the defensive systems. Poland calling for more forwards in there.
Vantage, not pushing back. Offside.
Penalty for Ireland. Crossfield kick behind Giles, but he takes it well. Again, though, McPhillips knew exactly what he had to do, but there's good defending by Keelan Giles.
Offside.
Yeah, not the tallest winger, but he got himself well positioned and dealt with that quite easily, really, in the end.
I don't remember, sir. Offside here. I just told you push back.
Great pass from McBurney, the hooker, and that one from Poland.
What I really love about this Irish side and their attacking play is the trail runners. You know where they're coming, and even though we can't hear it in the commentary, you know that they're hearing it in their ears. The support player coming directly from behind, coming at pace, and just holding their depth. There's so few teams that actually do that these days, and we see it obviously the All Blacks do it so well, and maybe like a classy French team of some time ago. We haven't seen it for a while, but from that Irish side, you know, they're really showing how the game should be played, if not going for that miracle pass every time.
Line is a bit on.
Well, we saw an excellent line-out drive by Wales a couple of minutes ago. What odds a line-out drive here, especially with Kelvin Brown standing off. There he is, now attaching himself. Brown wearing 20, thundering through the middle. Oh, did that go to ground? Well, the try's been given very early indeed, and Kelvin Brown has got the try. Wales remonstrating with the referee that the ball never actually got to ground, and it was a very early call, and it counts.
And the referee well positioned, yeah, but from my viewpoint, I couldn't say for sure if he got it down. It looked 50-50. I'm sure we'll get a better view here. But the big Irish pack, we talked about the size here. When you get the weight in, there is a bit of a shift there. They go over. I think you need a different angle to have a look here. But he breaks away and gets in ahead. Hard to see where he actually gets it down there.
Well, certainly, Corey Domachowski thought he was underneath him. It's one of those where they went over the rated knots, and it looked like a try written all over it, but needed to make sure the grounding was there. Conversion isn't successful, but the game is still very much alive. 25-19, another try from Ulster. Ross.
Yeah, thank you, Gareth. It's another try for the Dragons. They're now 15-10 ahead at the Kingspan Stadium. And as with the first, some great handling from forwards and backs in the build-up. Elliot Dee and Reinhard Landman both involved in that phase. And Landman again as first receiver. Soft hands onto Carl Mayer, the fullback, who created the first. He scored the second, and the score at the Kingspan 15-7 to the Dragons.
Thanks, Ross. The Dragons are worried about their away form. That's what they wanted to prove. And now, leading 15-7 at Ulster. See if they can build or hang on to that lead. 6-point game here at Donnybrook. Wales with a one-score advantage. It's been that kind of game that it can go either way anytime. Up comes Jack Power. Millard's tackle. A carry from Claffey. O'Donnell. McPhillips. Kelvin Brown is there to regather, but it's gone forward in the meantime. And Ireland are the ones who are now trying to pick up the pace.
Okay.
It's funny when you fall 10 points behind, there's that impetus to just get out there and get going. And Kelvin Brown's done very well since he's come on. He's carried well. Okay, that pass was probably could have been a little bit flatter, a bit overran for once, where Ireland have been keeping their depth while running onto the ball. One thing though for that maul, you know, was it a try, wasn't it a try? It's hard to see decisively that he got a touchdown, but he did make a fatal error when you're close to the maul. You never when you have the ball, always make sure there's another player between you and the opposition. When you get that far in advance, the opposition can get a hand in, and I think that should have been a very easy try, and I think the referee probably presupposed it was, but Kelvin Brown had actually just got himself a bit isolated.
Reuben Morgan-Williams on that scrum half for Wales. Injury for Ireland as well. That'll give us a chance to go back down pitch side to Phil.
Good for you?
Yeah, thanks Gareth. It's the Swalek Cup last 16 tomorrow. 2 all Premiership ties. Bridgend, the holders, against Cross Keys, and then Carmarthen Quins against Bedwas. Interesting one, Pontypool against Bridgend Athletic, former winners 1983, of course. And my League 2 East. In League 2 East, Cross-y-Killiog against Pontypool United is my good feud guide for this week. No official Swalek League programme tomorrow, but a lot of clubs catching up on fixtures, so it's Cross-y-Killiog against Pontypool United. I'll put my anorak on to tell you Cross-y-Killiog was the original club of the late great Clive Burgess, who scored a try for Wales against Ireland on his debut in Cardiff in 1977.
Thanks, Phil. Anorak in Ireland, and I think an anorak will be needed back in Wales tomorrow as well. That's a good scrum by Wales.
Up under pressure.
Yeah, there's one area Ireland thought they'd be a bit stronger than Wales. They've a very heavy pack, experience in the front row as well, but good technique. You know, it isn't always the bigger scrum that wins. It's all about getting your scrum height right and your chase, etc. And scrum hasn't been a dominant part of the game, but I think that's quite vital, and gives Wales the opportunity to get back into the Irish half and back in the attack again.
10. You are a good player. Play rugby, don't kick.
Oh, you hate that as a prop, but the back rows, you're going backwards and the back rows' heads are up. Look at the Welsh, the the whole 8 were down there, got the shunt on, and it's one thing the props never even know till they go back and watch a video. If their back row's head was up, he wasn't really putting it in or not.
And then the back row get to know about it.
The ball.
Evans, Ruben Morgan Williams, clean break by the replacement scrum half. Needed one little pass, but didn't panic, so still Welsh ball. Dylan Lewis, good take by the prop. Lovely break by Morgan Williams. And can Wales now capitalise? Keddy. Forwards lining up, led by David Hughes. Little dummy offload. Kelvin Brown with a tackle.
20.
Dan Jones. Now then, Watkin steps, looks for the one-handed ball to Giles, but no, couldn't complete it. And the relieving pressure kick by McPhillips.
Retreat.
Was that a late tackle? No. It's a clean catch that's been awarded. Dan Jones.
Time is off.
Certainly felt the weight of Peter Claffey. In fact, they are going to go to the TMO just in case.
If there is no full play after the kick.
What a great break it was by Wales with Shane Daly. It looked like a try was certainly on, but he just came in and closed it down. And for once, Wales not having the patience to go through the phases, maybe forcing the pass. You know, that kick, it was a nothing kick, so it'll be interesting to see a replay of what exactly did transpire. It's been known for out halves who kick a loose kick to maybe find the biggest forward and run at him.
Préfère vérifier.
An eye on 4, there he is, does he? Well,
nah, you stand your ground, I'm afraid. That was, I've had that done to me by Mr. Mark Mapletoft once, where he knew he'd kicked a really bad chip chase, and he just looked at me, ran as fast as he could, so he'd bounce back off, and of course he got the penalty and Gloucester won.
J'ai la décision. Hein. Pénalité contre le 4 vert.
Oh, it's going to be a penalty against 4 green.
Enfin, si tu donc oui.
I think if you keep your feet, it doesn't really matter. Did he extend his derrière?
Oui, il le bloque avec les fesses. Il fait une position arrière avec les fesses pour l'empêcher de passer.
Like that.
Okay, so number 4.
4 green.
4. Tell me number 4.
Just stuck his bottom out a little bit, maybe making life a little bit awkward for Dan Jones. There's no more than that in it. I think that's a tough call on Peter Claffey.
On TMO reports, there is a voluntary obstruction on number 10, so you know the rule.
Oh,
it's not just a penalty; it's yellow.
Oh, that's a very poor decision.
You don't have to move. You're allowed to stand your ground. The one thing you are not allowed to do is to change your line to go at the player who's kicked it, and he just stood there basically.
Yeah, I personally don't think it was a penalty.
A little bit, and I think that's
and as you know, a smart number 10 when he does that, and we saw the kick was going nowhere, and a yellow card is, I think, is a shocking decision. Yes, if it was on, it was going to be a try-scoring opportunity, then that's fair enough.
Just leant into him, possibly a shade, but yeah, he just.
You stick your position. Yeah. If his feet had moved or his arm had come out, yes, by all means. But yeah, no, I think I wouldn't have called that a penalty even. Never mind, a yellow card is completely an overreaction.
I've seen penalties for shoulder charge, but I don't think I've ever seen them for a bottom charge before. It's an evening of firsts at Donnybrook. Dan Jones won the penalty, and Dan Jones converts the penalty, and that extends Wales' lead to 19 points to 28, so it makes it a 2-score game. Important kick, that one, for Dan Jones. Now then, we've heard the opinion from one forward here in Donnybrook. What about back in the studio? Martin Williams. Martin, what did you make of that one?
Yeah, it was if a yellow carded for that, it's a ridiculous decision in my book, Charlo. Like you say, he's actually just stuck his bottom out, which probably the first guy ever to get yellow carded for that. But yeah, it's a shocking decision. But I suppose if you're the Welsh, you take that all day long.
Well,
Medal is here.
we are wondering sometimes what the game is coming to.
I wonder what would happen if Bastero was to stick his backside out to a player coming. It'd be a red card, would it?
Certainly need some gas to get around it.
Surely you should know you stay away from big second rows like Claffey.
So Ireland down to 14 men.
Play on.
Hacked through by Phillips. Picked up by O'Donnell, or rather by Porter. Ryan, he'll have to pick up his team now. It fought back into the game. Still in it. But it's going to be that much harder. And Wales are celebrating every penalty.
Player is first.
I think that's one area that Wales have certainly outshone Ireland. It's at the breakdown, fighting for the ball. You know, you talk about size, but height's a big thing as well, and maybe a shorter side, stockier side, harder to budge off the ball, but also a lot of the technique work they've done is better. You looked at the Irish back row in particular, all very tall, rangy guys with no real groundhogs to get in there and fight for the ball. And nowadays the prop forwards are probably best built, should I say, to fight for that ball. And as we've seen with the likes of Armitage, I suppose, and Bastero, who we're talking about, we're built like prop forwards, really. We can get low, squat, very hard to budge.
Well, there's been a penalty try for Ulster, which has been converted, so now it's a 1-point game out there. 15-14.
Okay? And the 15 the ball. Okay?
Getting tight for the Dragons. Now we saw Keelan Giles limping, and unfortunately for him, that's the end of the game. Joe Thomas of the Ospreys, and Aberavon comes on and straight in the middle.
Forward pass here. Slow shoot. Yeah. Okay, remember 3 green.
Yeah, the pop-up from Morgan Williams is just forward to Joe Thomas. Here's a hefty character, Conor Kenny of the Buccaneers, and Conor tipping the scales at just under 21 stone.
They brew him big down in the Buccaneers, I tell you. Yeah.
So that 900k pack has just got even bigger.
Crunch!
Flanker Matthew Byrne
Bind!
joins on to the scrum in place of the sin-binned Peter Claffey.
That's it.
Dean Williams looks downfield. Poland decided not to kick.
7!
Good line speed defensively by Wales, putting Ireland under pressure, not giving them any time to develop. Ryan, great offload from Ryan to Power. Sean Evans comes all the way round.
Yeah, he's helped around, but that boot certainly came out, and probably lucky with the cynical nature, maybe lucky just to get a penalty.
That's disappointing for Ireland, not finding touch from there. Even though they will have a line out some 10 metres outside the Welsh 22. From that situation, they'd be looking to be 10 metres from the try line. And some of the offloading from Ireland has been top draw.
Look out, please.
Interesting to see what Ireland do now. I think the maul has looked very powerful last time around, and I would imagine they might just go for it again.
Well, the lineouts have gone pretty much with throw, but Ireland didn't protect the possession well enough, and that's good work by David Hughes. won a few extra yards. Morgan Williams out to Ellis-Wyn Benham. Benham beats one man. Evades the clutches of Brown as well.
No problem.
There's a lot of balls being hacked through. Ref's fairly lenient on those, and Phillips trying to get his team going forward again. Ruben Morgan Williams half turned, and that means the ball was meant to go to the air, but charged down and back into the hands of the scrum half. Links up with Owen Watkin. Could be room on the outside. Pass delayed a little bit. Joe Thomas bumps his option number out the way, back inside to Harry Millard, and that could be the killer blow for Wales. Harry Millard with a 4th try for Wales, putting them over 30 points.
Yeah, Wales have looked so dangerous when they've got space out wide. In the first half they didn't get the opportunities, but after some really good hustling work in the line out by Wales, get that ball, and once they get going forward, that extra gas they have there was just extremely good. It had looked that Ireland had done so well just to get in there, get the hand, the block down, but then again, when there's no defence alignment there, good awareness, getting the ball out wide, fixing. This is it, where he fixed Daly so well there, but 2 players over. Yeah, it's just good support play again, a bit like we've seen with some of the Irish forwards. I thought the Welsh back play and support lines excellent again.
Good strength by Joe Thomas on the inside ball to Harry Millard, and that is excellent support play. Tracking in on the inside shoulder, waiting for the return pass, and Harry Millard rounding off nicely in the corner. Another superb touchline conversion from Dan Evans, who's enjoying himself this evening. And Wales at the moment looking comfortable with just over a quarter of an hour to go. And they wanted the chance to run, and now they're getting it. The other games being played this evening, well, at half-time, Scotland leading England by 12 points to 6. A tight affair there. The other one, not so. France leading Italy by 26 points to 3. So France comfortably ahead. The other one, a tight affair. This one was for a while, but now that gap has grown to 16 points.
I believe a young Mr. Hastings played on that Scotland side.
Yeah, you have time, don't worry.
Following on in the family tradition, to be Gavin's boy. And just as I was saying that the lineups are going with throw, Ireland haven't secured the last 2. The commentator's curse.
Yeah? Okay.
This often happens, doesn't it, when a lot of substitutions come on, and it's not just the hooker and the jumper, but also mainly it's the lifters coming in. And you know, sometimes, especially when you come together your first game out, it's obviously a new team, a new year at under 20 level. You're not used, you don't get as many reps doing lineouts if you're the sub player coming on with and you don't know who you're playing, different second rows or back row of different foot movements, and all of a sudden you get something goes off, and you don't get up, don't get high enough, and the opposition managed to snaffle the ball or disrupt it. Like in our day, you had just played the 80 minutes and it didn't really matter. You were stuck with the same lifters and jumpers.
Ireland back up to 15. Sean O'Connor has come on for the yellow carded Peter Claffey, and a change at outside half. Conor O'Brien is the new outside half. Clontarf.
Not ready. Okay, restart, no problem. Security.
They've got just under a quarter of an hour to try and turn things round. Wales' record against Ireland of late has been very good at this level. Just one win in the last 5 for Ireland, and that one came in Pukekohe in New Zealand a couple of years ago. Good solid scrum.
Yes. Stay. Stop.
That's Jared Evans, who's just come on as well for Wales.
Advantage offside.
And even though
Offside.
the ball is spilt, the defending has been
Offside,
done from an
7 still
offside
in the
position.
action. Stevens, still offside. You interfere with the game.
We feel that Ireland need to score fairly soon to get back into this one.
Yeah, and again, I think it's a good position to go for the maul again, but you know, you just got to get the basics right here. Get up, but you know, even if it's at 2, obviously you want in the middle of the lineup, and the back is the best place to set up for a maul drive. But just secure possession. They've got the size and the might and the balance to get this going.
It was taken by the replacement O'Connor, and there is Conor Kenny. Wales defend successfully. Get the ball to ground. O'Brien. Poland leaves it. O'Connor.
Leave it.
Porter tries to go straight through on his own.
Advantage to the knock.
Lost it, and Wales immediately looking to see if there's a chance to counter even from their own try line. David Hughes,
Advantage over.
Watkin, juggled and then spilt by Joe Thomas just when advantage over was called. Well, exciting
Option.
stuff from Wales. They feel
Captain option.
they can do that from their own try line with the luxury of a 16-point lead.
As you want.
It's amazing how the game has just slipped away, and I think that was one of the facets there. Wales' ability at the breakdown to snaffle ball and disrupt the Irish defence. We saw Wales so many times in the first half where they just went through the phases, and Ireland never really challenged hard enough at the breakdown to take ball back. And they went through, had their patience and scored. For Ireland, quite the opposite. It's been a case of once they get through, you know, some beautiful play, some great offloading play, but eventually it's some of that great Welsh work at the breakdown, hands getting in, and the turnovers have been a massive part of Wales, which I presume will be a victory at this stage.
And having seen that again, Wales will be disappointed because Owen Watkin drew the winger Matthew Byrne perfectly, and Joe Thomas just had a look up, and he would have seen that it was James Ryan, the captain, who was tracking across, and he'd have backed himself, I think, to have the legs in
I
him.
think he would have, especially at this late stage, against a second who's been tolling away in the up front. Mind you, Ryan, he's a very athletic second row. Certainly one that, again, I think Joe Schmidt and his coaching staff will be keeping a close eye on.
It's Leon Brown there. There's another young man to keep an eye on. Crosskeys prop. Another very good prospect. Dylan Lewis there on the tight head, very highly regarded, as is Leon Brown.
Fine. Set.
Wales confident in their scrum. They're looking for the second shove. They don't need it really. He was solid first time round. Jared Evans, complicated move. Millard looking to bring in Green Williams, and Wales maybe a little bit overconfident at the moment. They're making life difficult for themselves, overcomplicating the moves behind.
The advantage.
O'Brien is kept in play by Daly. So Wales under pressure in their own 22. O'Connor.
Away tackler. Advantage tackler.
Wales have to be careful. They're giving away penalties and possibly a yellow card. Daly drops it, but they will get a penalty. Shrill blast, and there'll be a word at least to the captain, if not more.
Sounds like a yellow card blasted a whistle, I think, Charlo.
Yeah. Since the half time,
Wales have put themselves in this position really, haven't they? And
Have
just
a
need
for the
to, when
discipline.
you've got that comfort,
Here, check, they're not moving away.
why don't they leave Ireland try and make all the play and just get down into their half and live off their mistakes?
It's a final warning, blow the whistle, rather than a yellow
Time
card.
is up. Time is still up.
It's going to be a very low blast for the yellow card. So,
9 minutes to go. Okay,
I
time
think
is up.
there's been a few, not been too green-eyed here, I hope, but there's been a few cynical
It has, certainly.
penalties given away by Wales when Ireland have gone forward, and I think at 71 minutes, if you're going to make a call, that's probably the time.
Substitution and three.
Dylan Lewis departs, Leon Brown comes on, and so does Morgan Sinowski.
Sorry,
He's coming to the back row. He replaces Harrison Keddy.
Time is on.
So the new boys will have to fit into the defensive pattern, 5 metres from the try line. This is it for Ireland. They need a score from here. They need 3 scores to get back into this one. This couldn't be the first one. Good drive on from the line out. No. Well driven back by Wales. Away from the whitewash. It's there though for Ireland. Poland has a look one way or the other. Leaves it for the forwards. The pick and go again towards that Welsh try line. McBurney.
Vantage, 5 offside.
Offside again for Wales, so it could be a yellow card. Ireland still pressing. Again, they go for the Hail Mary. Green Williams didn't catch it cleanly. Sean Daly was there,
Knock on first.
but it went forward. The try won't stand. They'll have to come back for the penalty.
Great maul defence by Wales, and it's intelligent defending. You don't, when you're trying to defend on your own line, you don't just go to push. You got to twist and turn and get in, and that's what Wales are doing so well. Is that they're not leaving that Irish platform set up, and by twisting it and driving in from the side, then they've disrupted what should have been, you know, a well-designed maul should have scored there.
Well, that was coming. The final warning was issued. Another penalty was given. And it's Adam Beard who suffers for the team. Ireland have 7.5 minutes to find 3 scores.
Time is still off.
Wales have to do a lot of defending with 14 men.
Merci, c'est bien. Bonne décision. Time is off. Time is off. Time is done. 7 minutes and 30 seconds.
Okay.
Don't worry. I will explain you the time to go. Don't worry. Seven minutes, 30 seconds to go.
Another patching up job for Max Deegan, who had to leave the field in the first half to be stitched up. It's been a good contest though, Paul.
It has entertaining rugby. Yeah, you know, we were talking there about yellow cards, but there's been very little cynical play compared to what we see at senior level these days. A lot of ambition to play the ball. I thought, you know, Ireland don't look like they're going to win. I thought they played some great off-loading rugby, but I think just the technique work, especially at the breakdown, I think by Wales, the scrum was a little bit better. And that cutting edge out wide, I think the pace there, it tends to be a habitual at this level that Wales tend to unearth all these whizzing gems out wide.
Tactical substitution for Wales. Bryce Morgan, tight forward, comes on. Ellis Wynne-Benham, the winger, goes off as they look to try and prevent the rolling, driving line-out maul from Ireland. McBurney is in there, so is Poland. Wales do manage to stop them. Tom Phillips did extremely well, and again, that is superb defence of the driving line out by Wales. Tom Phillips very much at the helm.
Yeah, excellent maul defence, and it's everyone it's the on-the-scene work there, just getting in, getting a hand in on the ball. Ireland would be disappointed that they didn't get a platform, didn't protect the ball carrier. We saw Poland having to go in there, and yeah, I think that man Tom Phillips, you know, he's a good hard grafter in there, getting the hands, but smart play by Wales as well. You know, keeping their discipline there, and we talked about the breakdown, how good they were in that area. I think the maul defence as well, outside the one try Ireland did score, has stood up very well.
A couple more replacements for Ireland as O'Connor battles for the line out. But Wales have it, and Morgan Williams gets it away downfield, fielded by Keenan. Power back inside to Keenan, good tackle by Sinowski. Again, Wales battling hard at that breakdown area, thought they had it for a moment. The new scrum half, Stephen Kerrins, gets it away. Conor O'Brien. The time is very definitely running out for Ireland now to get 3 scores. Ryan on halfway, Sinowski battles for it but is driven off. Porter.
Away, 7 red.
Kerrins, diminutive scrum half. Now then, Wales again go wide any chance they can. Reen Williams looking for the inside ball from Joe Thomas.
Push back.
Sinowski. Ireland fullback Jack Power having some treatment. Could be some gaps there. That's Tom Phillips. Outside him is Owen Watkin. Phillips to Watkin, just slightly behind him, but he glides back inside. Such a strong runner, Owen Watkin. Hughes is there for Wales. They can certainly nail it from here. Owen Watkin, so strong on his feet. Takes 2-3 players to bring him down. Phillips, he's been really such a workmanlike performance from the captain, led by example, almost up to the try line again, Wales. But this time Ireland have smuggled the ball back, and a chance for Kerrins to get it away. The effort put in by Tom Phillips tonight has been superb. He really has led by example.
Time is off.
Wales came so close to a 5th. There's Phillips. Didn't quite have the ability to put Watkins on the outside line.
Time is off.
But really, no lack of effort from anyone in red this evening.
Green is coming and red is coming. 2 red also. 2 red also.
And as everybody gets a chance to get some piece of the action. More changes in the Welsh pack, and that's David Hughes leaving. He scored the first try for Wales, and his replacement, who'll throw into this line out wearing 16, Ivan Phillips,
we have to go.
son of former Neath and Wales hooker Kevin Phillips. So it's a chip off the old block, the new hooker, and I have seen a proud father and family in the crowd here this evening at Donnybrook.
Time is on.
First throw though, over the top and into Irish hands. Just 3.5 minutes remaining.
Offside, tackle error.
Penalty goes Ireland's way.
Tackle error, not on the good side.
But it has been a fiercely fought battle and the breakdown, and we just mentioned the former Wales hooker Kevin Phillips, and guess what, he's with Phil Steele now. Phil.
Kevin, congratulations. How does that feel to have to see your lad winning his first under-20s cap?
It's been a long time coming, and I'm thoroughly proud of him, and let's hope all the hard work he's done is going to be paid off in the end.
You know what it's like to win against Ireland. You played when Wales beat them in the World Cup in '87. Give us a prediction for Sunday as well.
Well, I think the state, the Welsh are in at the moment. I think they're going to close it. I think a big win for Wales, I think.
Great to see you, Kev. Lovely to talk to you again.
Thank you
Cheers
very
now.
much. Thank you.
Charlo.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Nice to hear from a proud dad as Ireland throw everything at it now in the closing stages. Fenton, but Wales have defended manfully. That early onslaught got the try for Ireland for Gallagher, but it's only one since then. The start of the second half from Kelvin Brown, and Wales have held them out. Been very smart in the breakdown area. Deegan. Gallagher protects. Laid back for Fenton. O'Connor. Phillips tackles low on Gallagher as Kerins goes in. Out it comes to O'Brien. The tackle comes in from Morgan Williams. This time there is quicker ball, and eventually there's space for Shane Daly to cross over, but it'll be a consolation score for Ireland. Wales will be disappointed to yield late on, and fair play to Ireland, they've kept on fighting, but it'll be too late. Wales still should emerge as winners.
Yeah, good play by Ireland. O'Brien in particular managed getting, just taking on his man. Good leg drive, just keeps going and buys that. He's not held, buys the extra little bit, and quick hands here to Shane Daly. And I think if any player on the Irish side deserved a try, it was Daly. He saved a number of tries. His all-round contribution has been excellent tonight, and he's certainly a player for the future. And he's, it may not be an Irish win, but I'm sure he'll remember that try anyhow fondly.
Wales a man short, of course. It's Ellis Wyn-Benham, the winger, who is off, and Ireland making good use of that space on that side to score the try. Not converted, but it'll be a little consolation for Ireland for all the effort they put in this evening. Time for one more play, and then they can wrap it up.
15 seconds to go. 15 seconds.
As the clock turns red, Jared Evans restarts. And Wales's record against Ireland at under-20 level continues. 19-12 it was at Parc Airias in Colwyn Bay last year. Few more points, few more tries this evening. The result is the same. Well taken by Keenan. And Ireland showing what they're capable of late on as well.
Today's elected man of the match, representing Ireland, is number 9 from Ireland, scrum half John Poland.
They go wide, but it's spilt by O'Connor, and that is that. Wales have come away to Donnybrook, and they've started the 2016 campaign with a victory. Thoroughly entertaining game. 49 points, 7 tries, but it was 4 tries to 3 to Wales. And after early Irish promise, Wales showing their strength in defence, showing their ability in attack, and good value for their win by 35 points to 24, but an excellent game all round, Paul.
It certainly was. I think the game turned on its head those minutes around half-time.